According to mecha designer Sid Mead, the Turn X was his best design in Turn A Gundam. He's right. Hey guys, Steb here. I like to build and paint mecha model kits. This time I'm working on the 1:144 scale Mobile Turn X. Released in 1999, this kit predates the now so ever popular HG line. But that doesn't stop the kit from looking so good out of the box. Impressively, its proportions are super spot on. Its panel lines and details are also faithfully molded in. Hold up, are those elbows polycap? Yes, this kit uses polycap joints for the elbows and knees, and the hand. Polycap material and painting does not go well together. Okay, so it can be painted over, but it flakes off. Paint doesn't stick to it properly without the use of a specific primer. Even then, the results seem rather spotty. But first, I want the Turn X to have a more mean look like it does in the box art. I think the key to that is lengthening its neck. With the current neck, it can barely move vertically. Not very expressive. I was ready to extend it with some claw plating surgery, but it being made of polycap complicates things. I remembered that in the past I've scratch built a neck part for my HGUC Zetsu, which was scrapped. Hey, at least I'm putting it to good use. The neck turned out too long. It looks good when tilted downwards, but it's a bit off when viewing at it from different angles. Nothing some sanding can't fix. Nice. Proportion-wise, this is perfect. Now the polycap joints. I should clarify that I don't hate polycaps. As an HG enjoyer, I actually really appreciate them. As long as they're hidden. I'm going to have to replace them with polystyrene parts. For times like these, I always have an extra Balden arms runner lying around. With some cutting and drilling, I end up with a decent replacement. With the way it connects to the forearm, it won't have any articulation anymore. But at least I can paint it now. To connect it with the upper arm, I had to do some more cutting and drilling. This was messy and took way too long. The knee joint was much less of a hassle. Still using parts from the Balden arms, I end up cutting a ton of plastic to get it to fit. Again, ugly and messy. But it looks fine from the outside, which is what really matters. There is a small gap here, which I fill in by gluing a piece of claw pipe to match the other side. As for the polycap hand, I'm going to be replacing it with the Garibaldi Betas. I feel that the hand cover looks similar to the Turn X's, and it does hold the rifle decently well. Then I spend a good amount of time scribing over molds and panel lines to help everything look more defined. The chest is where I put in the most care. 1, because it's the Turn X's focal point, and 2, I suck at masking. This process helps me cut the masking tape along the scribed lines. Sometimes, when I want to mitigate some really difficult masking, I separate the parts so I can paint them individually. Such as the torso and shoulders here. They are molded together. Pain. To make a clean cut, I scribe along the mold and keep digging until it penetrates the plastic. It is hard for me to recommend though, since this could potentially shorten the lifespan of the chisel. And these aren't exactly cheap either. I also recommend not tearing them off like a Neanderthal. I get impatient sometimes, but I think it will hopefully look okay after some gluing. Now, this kit's simple construction of putting 2 halves together for everything means every section has a seam. This was also time consuming. There are some seams though that I just couldn't be bothered to do. The ones that are really annoying to reach. For those, I cut strips off a runner tag and paste over them. Yes, I am lazy. Now I get to paint. For this Turn X, I want to incorporate both the Master Grade's bluish hue and the anime's yellowish green. The base color will be a slightly darker turquoise color, then I highlight the part with the light green color. But I want to add a little bit more flavor. I mix even more white and some yellow to the previous color and use that as a second layer of highlight. Then I spray a final clear coat to blend it all in. Tasty. But with 2 layers of highlights being sprayed, there is some difficulty in painting the same color consistently. It's easy to spray too much or too little of either highlights and end up with a completely different color. To add to this, my sense of trigger pull, distance, and speed can be quite different depending on the day. So for colors like these, I commit my entire day off to take as little breaks as possible. Breaks equal potentially resetting my senses. As for the frame color, I went with the line art's purplish gray. But I changed my mind. I wanted something that better matches the green that I just sprayed. I didn't commit too many layers, so I spray over it with the base gray and start over. Sometimes do-overs like these are okay. Instead I opt for a bluish green gray. Then I spray a lighter shade as a highlight. Just to be safe, I let it dry for a full day before applying any masking tape. Masking. I'm slowly getting better at it, but this is still the most difficult and uncomfortable part of airbrushing for me. To make cutting into the masking tape easier, I go over the line with a toothpick and then a needle tool to help soften the tape before cutting. For curved lines like these, I have to be extra careful to not let the knife go astray. But even with all the preparations, it doesn't always go as planned. I've messed up on the X a couple times already. With the X specifically, the panel line didn't feel wide enough for the knife. I would have issues with a knife digging into the surrounding paint film. To prevent this from happening again, I slightly widened the panel lines with a 0.15mm chisel. It is demoralizing having to paint from the very start over and over again, but I can't give up here. Third time's the charm, hopefully. Okay, it's not perfect. There's a bit of the main color that's smudged onto the X, and there's a bit of gray missing here at the end. But at this level, I think I can try fixing it. Yeah, I know the taping is clumsy, but with some airbrush control, this should hopefully work. Plus, if I'm spending time trying to be super precise, I might as well start over. Pretty good. I think the trick is to lightly spray it in very fine amounts. It's a lot easier said than done, but masking should be done correctly the first time. Because man, fixing mistakes is way too time consuming. Luckily, I managed to cheat some areas with Mr. Hobby's water-based aqueous line. Using a Japanese cleaner, Magic Clean lets me wipe away any excess paint. One thing to note about this technique is that wiping away the excess gets harder as the paint dries. It feels, sticky for a lack of a better word. And it can take some time to wipe off, so I try to do the wiping within an hour of spraying. Another personal touch I added was a gold accent to the rifle and to the backpack. I usually find panel lining to be pretty boring, but this time I have to admit it felt pretty good seeing the ink run. To me, the Turn X and a lot of Sid Mead's designs in the show are characterized by these bold and interesting panel lines. And wiping off excess panel liner felt really good after handling the sticky aqueous paint. After letting everything dry for a week, I get to assemble the Turn X. Final assembly started off very smooth. I made sure to mask pegs and create enough clearance between parts beforehand. The only thing left is the execution. I have to be gentle and make sure not to break or scratch anything while getting the fit right. There is one big issue that I encountered though. I didn't plan well enough for how to glue the separated shoulder joints. I thought I could get away with using Tamiya's craft bond since it doesn't hurt the paint film, but that was a big miscalculation. I've mentioned before how its hold isn't as strong as superglue or even cement. It's just not durable enough to support the arms. So I had to very carefully use some cement and superglue to get the shoulders to stick better. In hindsight, I probably should have made it a snap fit connection instead, especially for any joint parts that need stability. Finally done after 2 long months. The masking killed me. That definitely took up a good chunk of the month. It would have taken even longer if I messed up gluing the shoulders, so lesson learned. But overall, I think it came out pretty well. Unlike the vintage bow that I've worked on, this Turn X was blessed with a great sculpt and proportions from the very start. So I was very fortunate there. If you like the Turn X and happen to find this kit somewhere for a decent price, I recommend picking it up. I know I made a whole fuss changing out the polycap joints, but it is still a really good looking kit. Now that I've finished this one, I gotta get the master grade in the upcoming reprint. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye.